My name is Paula. I am collaborating with Underbelly Magazine.
Cool.
So they're part of like the Miami underground food scene. And we have this honor to being here today with Shojo's Dojo.
And
So
honestly, we're the ones that are honored. Thank you so much for taking the time to come. Shojo's Dojo was something that came up out of quarantine.
okay.
So my wife and I, we started Shojo Beer Co., which was our brewery, and we never had a brick and mortar. We would just contract brew, which is essentially like renting out space at another established brewery's facility, and we would just write recipes and make beer. So we did that, and we did a bunch of collaborations, and so while Shojo's Dojo started in 2020, you know, we started to build up a rep, and you know, people started liking our product, so we started, you know, we've been in the industry for a little while. Started actually in 2019. Funny enough, my previous job, I was a civil engineer. So I graduated from FIU and was working in the field. Madi actually was, all she has to do is take her boards, and she's a certified doctor. But she decided to choose her own path and go down. She started doing digital marketing, and she does the marketing for us as well. That's why our page looks so nice. And I was doing, like, I had a beer blog, so I would like interview a bunch of different breweries and brewers, and like, you know, go do tastings and things of that nature. My boss at the time, John Falco, he actually officiated our wedding at Lincoln's Beer before I even worked there. So
Wow.
I was one of the people that started up Strange Beast out in West Kendall.
Okay.
And I worked the bar, I did, you know, pizza, and then like we finally started brewing, so I was brewing out there. Then jumped over to Lincoln's Beer. You know, people always ask like, oh, was this always, you know, the dream? And I was like, well, this was like always on the back end of our business plan, right? So like what we initially wanted to do was like open a brewery, tap room, kitchen, you know, like the whole thing, you know.
Yeah.
But obviously didn't have enough money for that. So even then, like we were still like looking around for like loans and, you know, investors, whatever. But always on the back end, we were like, we want to have a like sake cocktail and like speakeasy bar, and like just funny enough happened to work out that that's what we started. So I mean, Shojo started as, and this is the beer brand, like not even like this, you know, not even the dojo. Shojo started as, you know, our hair, like it started as a brand for like to push our culture and like into the spectrum, you know, like, so my family and I were Lebanese. Madi's family is Nicaraguense. So we just like our Shojo, like our statement, like, so sake actually is gluten-free, so a lot of people can appreciate that, and you know, the gluten-free people can drink that. And it actually, one thing that we just like to let people know, it is not rice wine. That is a completely different thing. Sake is actually brewed like beer. So, you know, they're called breweries in Japan, or kuras.
Okay.
And it's made with rice, water, yeast, and koji, and that's it. And we're actually brewing our second batch right now.
I've seen events happen, such as like the planters with the succulents. What other events and future do you see for Shojo's Dojo?
Well, I mean, we actually held an event yesterday working with a local nonprofit, Be Liver. They really good friends of ours. Their nonprofit is a like liver cancer research fundraising program, and we hosted a fundraising event for them. We also we worked with Brewsaki, who is another like, you know, local beer startup. Funny enough, I actually wrote the recipe for that beer before they contracted me to write the recipe. So like, we had a sake bomb event with their beer. So we always like having like fun events that not only support local community, but also like try to bring people in to also teach them.
So what do you mean by small bites?
So I don't want you know, because as we all have gone to events and it's like, oh, there's bites, and it's just like a cracker with a piece of cheese on top, and we leave very unsatisfied. No. So like with our sake, so with these sake pairing dinners, like we want to show people more than anything, right, that you can pair sake with things other than like sushi and sashimi and nigiri. So like, funny enough, we are going to have one of those events in the future. But the first sake pairing dinner, we're working with Pin Pan Foil. So they, like, I'll just give you a little intro, like, for what we're going to be doing. Guests will come in and they'll be greeted with one of our sake cocktails. So even beyond like pouring sake and stuff, we're having fun with it. Like, we do sake cocktails, we do sake slushies. We want to show people that there's a broad things you can do with sake. So after the sake cocktail, the sake that we're using for the event is Soto sake, and there will be 4 dishes, each paired with a different sake. And then for dessert, we're going to be pouring a limited edition sake that we were lucky enough to get, and a soft serve mead.
And Pin Pan Pollo, which I got the honor to try, which was amazing. From Cone.
They pop up and they do fresh sushi. Like, our dude hand rolls the sushis right there. He shucks the oysters right there for you.
Wow.
So that's our like to welcome the new month. We do a Sunday brunch, and like we want to work with people that not only we love and we have have a relationship with, but people that are also like trying to come up, right? So like one of our best friends, he popped up with us yesterday, the Hungry Yokai.
Okay.
And he brought back his pork gyozas. He started doing like these corn ribs, which are fire, and he was doing his yakisoba. So he's like, born and raised Miami, and he does like Japanese street food.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also know another collaboration is Miami Cookies, right?
Yes. So do you have food here? So it's like a yes and no, right? So like we don't have a kitchen. But we're more so like a Japanese style 7-Eleven. We buy pre-made, pre-packaged food, and then we sell them. So like some of the chefs that we work with, like again the Hungry Yokai, he makes our house chili oil, and he does it in a way that like, so he has chili oils in his pop-ups, but he does it in a way that like the chili oil he does for us you can only get here. He does it a little bit different. Beyond that, we work with Chef Carla of Los Tanitos. And she is a female Argentinian butcher. So her spot is amazing if you haven't had a chance to check it out. It's in West Kendall. She does our empanadas. She does a beef stir fry, veggie stir fry, and 3-cheese empanada for us. She also does our sandos. So we have a tamago, like egg salad sando, and a chicken katsu sando. And we work with the person you brought up, Mr. David Benito the baker.
Yes.
He does a site-specific, you can only find here, pistachio baklava cookie.
Come here with my friend. We got to have that dinner pairing with sake, and she's never really experienced sake like that before. She commented on that. We were really impressed with like how you came up to us and you explained like how you take the first one, the second one, and just more details in general. And it's just such a unique experience.
Actually, there's 2 things. The 2 things that we want and that we've heard in the past and that we love hearing is, and actually I heard it last night as well. We had a group of guys come in celebrating their friend's birthday, and they were here like they drank for like hours. And one of them closed out and he goes, "Oh wow, I thought my bill would be a lot more." So like we want to be a neighborhood bar. We want to be somewhere, like I'm not going to call anybody out, but typically when you want to have like a sake experience, right? You go to find the better higher end stuff. You have to go to like an omakase or a high end restaurant, and then you end up breaking bank. You have a great experience, but you end up breaking bank, right? And then you can't go out again for like another month or 2. So we want to be a neighborhood bar that you can come back 2, 3, 4 times in a week and still feel like you're okay to come back again the next week. And then beyond that, we want people to just have had left or come in, had a good time, and have that left learning something about sake.
Perfect.
We just want to teach and like show, like, mind you, I still have a huge love of beer. We're still going to be brewing beer, but sake is like something that we just want to show the world that like, hey, you don't have to go to Japan to get good sake. You can get it right here too.
And it's Florida's first sake brewery.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you are.
I did my homework.
You are correct.
All right, but
so
go
much.
ahead. Your socials.
So I myself am Thirsty Samurai Piggy. My beautiful wife is Little Madi with 3 eyes. And then you can find us here at Shojo's Dojo. And Our brewery, if you want to check that out, is Shojo Beer Co.
All right, this is me, Paula at Paus Picks, and thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you so much for coming out. Appreciate it. Here for you, we have our pick of the month. So these are our 3 favorite sakes that we are absolutely loving in house. And what we like to do with the pick of the month is, include styles that you might not see too often, and that is what we did here. So we're gonna go left to right. First, we have the table sake. So don't let the name fool you. Table sake is actually what's 70% gross of the sake sold throughout the entire world. This is Yuri Masamune. It's going to be a little light, a little floral, and it's a little dry at finish. And what's cool about table sake, what makes table sake is that there is no polishing rate required on the rice. So you can do as much or as little polishing on the rice as you want. And I will bring up the polishing rate on the rice in when the next sake is. So to try that and let me know what you think. All right, super easy to super easy to drink. It's a beautiful tasting sake. That's why it's starting off our pick of the month.
Nice.
Yeah, you can sip or shoot, whatever. So then now we're gonna go to the next sake and one of my favorite breweries. So Shichi Honyari is made by the 3rd oldest brewery in Japan. It is by the Tomita Brewery. And have you ever seen, I always like to ask our guests, have you ever seen The Seven Samurai by Akira Kurosawa?
I've seen segments of it.
It's on HBO Max, don't worry, you can watch it later. So what's cool is that the battle that they depicted in the movie actually took place right outside of this brewery. And those samurai would drink sake at this brewery. So in honor of the samurai, the brewery renamed all their sake Shichi Honyari, which translates to the Seven Spearsmen. And if you look at the logo of the brewery, it's the same logo that they have of the flag planted on the hill. And it is super, it's essentially history. You're drinking history right there. So that is the Autumn Assassin, or the Hiyaroshi. So a junmai literally translates to pure rice. So there's only koji, water, yeast, and rice in the sake, and there's no distillers alcohol added. So the seasonal, the Hiyaroshi, is only released in the fall. So this is the only time you'll be able to get it. And this is a sake that actually they produce and then age before the release. So like they finish producing it in the spring and then they age it and release it in the fall.
Oh, wow.
And for a junmai, that's like the first rung in the premium sake ladder. So the rice has to be polished to at least 70%. Now the reason I bring up the polishing is because what's cool about sake rice is that the starch is in the center of the grain. So the more you polish, the more you tear away the fats and proteins, and the more cleaner and expressive the sake becomes. So try that, let me know what you think.
It's a little bit stronger, but it's...
Oh, absolutely. So you're gonna get a fuller body. And what I love about this sake, because of the aging, I feel like you get like a little bit of bready notes. I feel like you get like a little bit of pepper notes with a dry finish, and it's just a beautifully complex sake.
It still tastes like rice, which I do like. I still taste the rice.
Perfect.
It peeks through, which, it's almost like flour.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful sake. It's a beautiful representation. And then we're gonna jump to the Junmai Ginjo Namagenshu, one of my personal favorites. So I know it's a lot, but actually, interestingly enough, that is the style of sake that we're going to be making. So it's going to be a Junmai Ginjo Namagenshu. So Junmai, again, meaning pure rice, only rice, water, yeast, and koji, and no distillers alcohol. Ginjo, meaning that the rice was polished to at least 60% now, so it's even more of a polishing rate. Then we have the Nama, which means unpasteurized. So there's still wild and active yeast and bacteria in the sake, so it has to be kept cold so it doesn't spoil. And there's the Genshu, meaning undiluted. So typically with Genshus, you get like around 20-21% because there's no water added at the end of the process. But with Cell 24, it's a very interesting sake. So this brewery specifically propagated 23 other types of yeast before they were happy with the 24th one.
Wow.
And this yeast actually finishes fermenting at 14%. So even though it's undiluted, it's a 14% sake. So you're gonna get a lot of different flavors. A little funky, a little floral, a little fruity. It's a beautiful tasting sake.
You tipped anything else? That's okay.
Wow. That's different.
Right? And there's like these little teeny tiny like prosecco bubbles that you kind of get. It's like slightly carbonated. It's a beautiful sake.
That is
Tell
very-
me, have you tried anything like that before?
No, actually.
And that's why we like to finish with that one. That is
It is the least bitter sake that I've. Because sake, all alcohols have a little bit of bitterness, but I barely tasted the alcohol in it. That's 14%. That's not a nothing.
So here we have a non-alcoholic mule, which I'm really excited to try. Wow. That tastes really good.
Right?
That tastes like really good. I've always told my friends, like, you find a good place that can make them really good mocktails, because that's how they make really good, like, cocktails. That's like the whole premise of it.
And
right? It's really good.
The ginger bites.
The ginger bites. Go ahead, sorry.
No. I'm glad y'all are enjoying it. We even before we started setting up the plan for what we wanted to do here, we said that we need to have a program that had both, cocktails for the people that drink and mocktails for the people that don't, because there's like such a diversity of people in Miami and in the world really, and we want to make sure that we have a little bit of something for everybody so they can come here and have a good time.
Thank you so much.
No, please,
Thank
thank you.